Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation. Today, we'll take you through the economic evolution of Bulgaria from 2015 to 2022. The members in this group are Virginia López Tapia Martín, Pablo Valverde Martínez, and Pablo Vázquez Rivera. At the beginning, we thought that dividing the group into two and two of us working on data analysis and the other two of us working on data interpretation was the best option. Even so, we ended up concluding that working all together would be a better alternative. So pretty much all of the data has been done by all the members of the team. Okay, so introduction. To be brief, our report is segmented into three primary tasks: data collection, data conversion into graphs, and data interpretation. Data collection has been made through Eurostat and the International Monetary Fund. Data conversion into graphs, we used Excel and we made the graphs through Excel, and data interpretation is this presentation. So yeah, let's starting with GDP evolution at market prices. We have this table which goes from 2015 to 2022. We have the GDP in millions of euros, current prices, and its variation rate. Like the first thing we can see in this table is that during the 2020 period, there was a big decrease. This was caused due to COVID, and we can see this better in the next slide, which is the graph of this data. And we can see that from 2015 to 2019, the variation rate is pretty average. There's no outstanding measures. And after the 2019 period, there is this decrease and a pretty big increase from 2020 to 2022. So this increase was mainly caused by the post-pandemic economic recovery and increased foreign investments. Well, it's not only an increase, but it's also a rebound. This is because during the COVID time, people couldn't go outside their house. Maybe if they usually consumed certain services, maybe they couldn't do it. Also, tourism went pretty down. So yeah, those are the main. In the next slide of the evolution of the components of the GDP from the demand side, we can appreciate much better what I was talking about. If we go to the next slide, which is the graph, we can see that during the period of 2019 and 2020, exports of goods and services and also imports of goods and services went pretty much below the other components of the GDP from the demand side. So it is like there is this clear evidence that due to pandemic, as everyone was in their houses and couldn't invest on buying things and stuff, these components were the most affected during this time. Look into sectorial weighting GDP. It goes from 2015 to 2022, and starting with agriculture, foresting, and fishing. It stayed around 4% more most years, and it was highest in 2021, about 4.3%, and dropped to 3.7% in 2022. For industry, there were bigger changes. It lowest was in 2021, post-pandemic, in around 17.3%, and its highest was in 2022, right after the recovery period. Manufacturing went down from 13.6% in 2015 and to 11.2% in 2021, but it improved later on in 2022, reaching 13.2%, which is around the mean average of all the years. And in construction, we can see that it's pretty stable. All are around 3.9%. And yeah. Okay, so in the following graph, which is a bar chart, we can see better this information. We can see that industry is the one that has the biggest share of GDP, and agriculture and construction are the one that have the least share of all.
Bulgaria's net external balance presents a variable progression between 2015 and 2022, with a peak of 5% in 2016, but then it declined to 1.10% in 2022. There are key factors that explain this trend, like rising imports, lack of export diversification, the rising energy import costs, or external shocks like the COVID-19 or the Ukrainian war. Bulgaria's coverage rate shows exports exceeded imports from 2015 to 2022, but dropped to 101.6% in 2022. This may reflect a slower export growth or higher imports due to rising consumption, reliance on imports, or reduced competitiveness. Along with a declining net external balance, this makes it harder to maintain a trade surplus in an unpredictable global market. Bulgaria's trade openness, above 100% since 2015, shows a strong reliance on international trade. It peaked at 129.6% in 2017, fell to 110.3% in 2020 due to COVID-19, and rose to 138.9% in 2022, higher than the EU average. This reflects deep integration but also vulnerability, highlighting the need for diversification. From 2015 to 2022, Bulgaria's unemployment rate dropped from 9.2% to 4.2%, despite a rise during COVID-19. It remains below the EU average, showing resilience though labor shortage and immigration remain challenges.
The evolution of this indicator. The table shows the general of Bulgaria's net central government debt in millions of euros for the years 2024 and 2028. According to the data, a gradual increase in debt is anticipated during this time frame. By 2024, net debt is projected at 15.78 billion of euros, increasing to 16.17 billion in 2025, reaching 17.64 billion of euros in 2028. This moderate increase could indicate an increase in demands for public financing or key investment. Is it vital to monitor that increase to ensure a long-term fiscal viability? This other table presents the net obligation of Bulgarian general government in millions of euros from 2015 to 2022. During this period, the debt underwent considerable variations. From 2015 to 2017, a reduction is visible, reaching its lowest level in 2017 with 9.949 million of euros. However, from 2018 onwards, the debt started to increase, reaching 13.5 billion in 2022, which represents the highest value of the state. This increase could indicate a higher demand for public funding due to the elements such as investment, budget shortage, or external events such as the 2020 pandemic, which affected the global economy. This other table presents Bulgaria's GDP between 2015 and 2022 in terms of constant and current prices. During the period, both indicators show an upward trend, evidencing a steady economic development. At constant prices, GDP per capita increased from 6.414 in 2015 to 10.486 in 2022, indicating real progress in productivity and economic welfare, offset by inflation. At current prices, GDP per capita increased from 6.543 in 2015 to 12.297 in 2022, evidencing nominal growth driven by rising prices and output. A more significant increase was recorded between 2020 and 2022, possibly thanks to post-pandemic recovery and beneficial economic policies. This progress suggests an expanding economy and improvements in incomes and quality of life for the population. This indicator presents Bulgaria's coverage index from 2015 to 2022, which highlights the country's ability to meet its international obligations. Over this period, the index saw a steady increase from 5.85 in 2015 to 7.73 in 2022. This increase indicates an improvement in Bulgaria's financial strength and its ability to meet its international commitments, probably due to an increase in international reserves, an improvement in the trade balance, or a strengthening of the country's economy. The upward trend highlights steady progress in the country's economic stability.
inflation rate between 2015 and 2028, Bulgaria's inflation rate exhibited notable fluctuations. From 2015 to 2016, the country experienced deflation, with rates of minus 1.10% and 1.30%, driven by lower energy prices and weak demand. Inflation returned in 2017, stabilizing around 2.5% by 2019 due to rising wages and stronger domestic consumption. In 2020, inflation dropped to 1.20%, and the economic slowdown caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. However, inflation soared to 13% in 2022, primarily due to global supply chain disruption and soaring energy prices. Looking ahead, inflation is expected to stabilize around 2% by 2026 as global conditions normalize. These trends highlight Bulgaria's sensitivity to external shocks and the need for balanced fiscal and monetary policies to sustain economic stability. In conclusion, Bulgaria has demonstrated significant economic progress in recent years, reflected in its rising GDP per capita, improved fiscal stability, and enhancing trade performance. The steady growth in exports, as highlighted by the improving coverage index, showcase the country's integration into European markets and its growing competitiveness. Additionally, Bulgaria has maintained a low public debt to GDP ratio, signaling improving fiscal management and a strong commitment to financial stability even during global challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic. The declining unemployment rate is another key achievement, indicating improvements in the labor market and higher living standards. However, Bulgaria faces several structural challenges, including labor shortage, immigration, and a declining population, which could limit future economic growth. The country's reliance on trade and energy imports further exposed it to external risk, including global market volatility and geopolitical uncertainties. Looking ahead, Bulgaria's economic outlook remains positive, driven by an EU funding, continuing export growth, and rising domestic demand. However, to sustain its progress, the country must address these structural vulnerabilities by diversifying its economy, enhancing workforce retention, and reducing dependence on external energy sources. Proactive measures in these areas will be essential for ensuring long-term resilience and sustainable growth.
Thank you so much for listening to us. We hope you like it.